Good afternoon everyone, happy Thursday and welcome to this session on Autodesk Vault and what you were told your data management solution could do but currently doesn't. My name is Robin, I'm the Technical Director here at Man & Machine in the UK. I'm joined by my friend and colleague Cameron, who's going to be taking you through the demonstration in a few moments time. But I just wanted to start off and say hello and give you a bit of an introduction. So firstly, hello to everyone that's watching us on Zoom and has subscribed to this webinar. It's good to have you on board and thank you for taking the time. And also good afternoon to everyone that's watching us on YouTube Live. Again, thank you very much for spending your precious time and deciding to tune in and watch. What we're going to be covering today is a little bit of an extensive look at Autodesk Vault and trying to look a little bit more specifically about how we can leverage certain additions and bolt-ons to Vault to make it do some more automation of mundane tasks, standardization of capture of data, so on and so forth, and essentially things that you may have been told that that solution could do that doesn't currently support out the box or off the shelf. So Cameron's going to take you through using some custom job processors, taking you through some centrally managed data standard functionality, and really just going through some of the crux of what you can do with these different tools. The examples he's going to show today are fairly high level, they're quite non-specific, and they focus generally on the idea of what you can do rather than this is what you should do and this is what you should do. But hopefully by seeing those and having Cameron explain in a nutshell what you could do and what you might do, we'll start to bring some of these things to life. Throughout the session, feel free to drop us a Q&A. If you're watching on Zoom, leave us a comment if you're watching on YouTube and if you want any feedback or whatever it might be. And as I say, give us a like, give us a subscribe, follow us on all the other social media platforms. We're regularly live every Thursday with these kinds of sessions. And we enjoy and look forward to having you with us in the future. So, without any further ado, I'm going to hand over to Cameron. Just give us a couple of seconds to switch the camera over to this small one over here and get Cameron on the screen share, and we will start the demo. Over to you, Cam.
Awesome, thank you. Height right? Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome, thank you, Rob. So as Rob explained earlier, we're going to be taking a look today at how we can advance some of the use of Vault in general. So the products we're going to be looking at today include PDM Booster. Now there are multiple different packages that are available, and I'll explain what we're using as we go through. But predominantly today we're going to be looking at the use of PDM Booster Manage, potentially manage extension, manage events rather, as well as PDM Booster job processing. So with Manage, we've got the ability to manage the data that is coming into Vault. So we've got a file open at the moment on screen where I don't have this saved into Vault yet. This is my first release of my first iteration of the model, and I'm wanting to get this file into Vault. Now, usually we have to make sure of all of the properties in the background. They're set to very particular. We might have item numbers, we might have part numbers that are based on projects that we're working inside of, or there's a very particular file naming scheme that we're needing to use as part of the process. We can, using the PDM Booster Manage, enable us to prompt some of those properties to be filled in automatically. We can get them to synchronize into the file at the initial check-in rather than having to either edit this later on or grab a spreadsheet on the side and enter those details in manually before we even begin the check-in process. So from the get-go, if I go over to my Vault tab and check this file in, it's going to ask me to save the file beforehand. Obviously, naturally, want to save this file, and as soon as I hit yes that I want to save this file, we get the Manage window pop up. Now this window is completely customizable. We've got the ability to force certain properties to be in this window or remove certain properties to only include the properties that we actually need and want as part of the design. This also allows us to go and push this file into a location. So normally we would need to go and ensure that that location is available to us. But in this case, what we've got is a quick search option right at the top of the screen for the save path. If I hit search over here, this loads up my Vault database, and I can go and grab an exact location where I want to save this file to. So I'm going to go and grab that desk lamp folder as a project inside of this location and hit OK on there now. Now we could also, at this point in time, depending on the project that we have, potentially even the folder that we're saving into, if those folders have certain properties that we want to be able to force onto our files, we can at this point in time do a property refresh. Usually that would pop up at the bottom of the screen if it was available to us. In this case, with this folder that I've created, it isn't. But again, it's customizable. We can ensure that we can do a property refresh at this point in time, grabbing any project information, any part numbering schemes or anything like that that might be related to a particular folder in here. In this case, you'll notice that it has automatically picked up on the file type that we're using, in this case a part file. So we've got the option, based on it being a part file, to go and grab either base or engineering file format. And from those, we've also then got the ability to, based on it being engineering, it's going to be forcing me to use this man machine file numbering scheme. So at this point in time, I can come in and add our numbering scheme as MAM as a prefix, and then a series of 4 letters, and then an incremental numbering scheme added to the end of that. So if I just call this one SWI, SWIT, and then it'll go in and ping Vault as it checks us in, see which number is sequentially available, and add that then to the end of that. As per usual, I've got the ability at this point in time to go and add any other properties that I might see are required at this point in time, and any comments that I might want to add against this file as it goes through the process. On the left hand side, we've still got the ability to use our bookmarks. We've got the ability to go through our directory in the same way as you'd potentially be used to when checking a file into Vault. So as soon as I hit OK on there now, it's going to go through, confirm that that's going through into Vault. I can OK that, and that's going to go check the file directly into Vault. Speaking of Vault, if we go over to the Vault interface, you'll see that this is the location that I've gone and saved that file into. So that should now be listed in this location. And then on top of that, using the manage aspect of the PDM booster, we then have a few extra tabs available to us in the design or inside of the Vault environment. So I've got a drawing over here. Against that drawing, I've got an assembly. And inside of that assembly, I've got the ability to now have a look at a few extra elements to the assembly itself. So you'll notice we've got a CAD BOM tab available to us in the viewer down below. And this will now give us a BOM of the assembly itself. Notice that if I go and grab a drawing file or a part file, that isn't available. So again, this is something we can go in and customize, and based on the file type, based on other parameters, we can enable or disable these windows to occur. Now this is just one tab. We can go and add other tabs in there and have them contextual, have them added or removed based on the folder structure that we're working inside of, based on the file that we've got selected, and so on. So very customizable in that aspect. Now again, against that assembly file, we've got a BOM available to us. On top of that, we've also very quickly got the ability to export that BOM just with a click of a button to a CSV file, and this can be to any location that I want to save that to. At the moment, that one is going to my downloads folder, but we can route that to whichever location you need to. For example, if you're working with an ERP system and need to be able to set out your bill of materials to a location that ERP system is then grabbing that information from, we can very easily ensure that is available and ready to go from there. Not only can we do it as a manual trigger, but we could also then have that trigger at certain processes within the design lifecycle. Other tabs that are available to us in here, we've got the ability to go into the data sheet. So this is all of the properties and that are against the assembly file that I've got over here. But this also works against drawing files, part files, and the like from there. Another really handy tool that's available to us with this installation is an external files check. So against the file that we're currently using, if we've ever created a PDF or any other linked document that is then saved outside of Vault, we've got the ability for Vault to then search in those locations and find exactly when those were last written to, where they're located, and then the name of that particular file. Again, this is additional functionality to what we're getting in the base installation of Vault, and just making that more powerful. So if you are, again, publishing files externally and wanting to ensure that they are on either the latest version or when the last version of that particular file was created, we can very quickly through Vault go and have a look at those and make sure that, first of all, they are linked and when they were last managed from there. Using the job processor side of PDM Booster, we've got the ability to enable certain tasks to occur in the background at certain intervals, at certain points in the design process. So, for example, if we had to go and take our drawing over here and change the state that it's assigned to. So if I go and grab this drawing over here, switch it very quickly to the approval state, the for review. We could go and push our component, either just the single drawing itself or everything as a whole, through the life cycle, which is standard functionality within Vault. But where this becomes a little bit more powerful is the ability we have then to ensure that certain jobs are occurring at those changes between states. So at the moment, we don't have anything triggered between the work in progress to for review. However, at the trigger from for review to released, we essentially want to make sure that the PDF that is associated to this particular file no longer has any instance on it or any indication on it that it's work in progress or potentially needs to be moved to a different folder or change state itself. At the moment, the PDF that is associated to this drawing file is currently showing within the PDF itself that our drawing file is at a work in progress state, or the assembly file that's then associated to that. So based on the state that it's in, we can get this to publish and to show anything we need to, whether it be a property that exists inside of Vault, whether it be, or in this case, that's the work in progress state, whether it be the person that has access to the file or anything like that, or it could just be raw text if you wanted just to have your company name on it, or a combination of a property and your company name. This can be anything really that we can add as a watermark onto the PDF itself. So as soon as I then move it for review, it's no longer in a work in progress state or an adjustable state. It's then going to be fully released. We can then get it to remove that watermark and have it as a fully published PDF. So as soon as I grab that, push my base model, or in this case the drawing file itself, through to that state, this will trigger a job in the background. If I go and open up my job processor, somewhere in the background, this will then go and ensure that against this file, it's then running a check to make sure that it is an editable document. And if it is an editable document, it's then going to be, in this case, checking against it as a drawing file. And again, if it's a drawing file, it's going to be creating a PDF and adding or removing the watermark from that particular item. I just want to make sure that has gone through. The last one was at 11. Let me just check my job processor once more. Naturally, it isn't starting up. Give that a few seconds just to trigger on in the background. But the other job types that we can do against this one, if I go right click against any of these files, we can also go and trigger those jobs to happen manually. So at this point in time, this is happening at a trigger point. This is happening between review and released. This can also happen at released to work in progress. Any of the transitions that happen throughout the design process can trigger a job to occur. Those jobs are also possible to be triggered manually. So in the right click menu, we've got the option over here to go and use the MUM job processor to go and create a PDF, a watermark PDF. We've also got the ability to create a 3D PDF, DXF, DWG, and a whole range of other file formats from within the files themselves. We can also, against each of those ones, ensure that it's then checking based on file type, so we can run a whole lot of files through it, and it'll then filter those out based on file types. And those jobs can do anything from generating a generic file directly out of Inventor or Vault, all the way to pushing out scripts from within those files themselves. So if you've got any iLogic in the files themselves that do any clever things inside of those files, we've got the ability to then trigger those using this job processor as well. I just want to double check just to see if that's gone through there. It looks like it's gotten stuck somewhere along the background. Apologies for that. I'll have to keep testing to see if that restarts. But on top of those options that we've got over there, using PDM Booster managed events, we can then also ensure that before it starts to go into any of those events, at the phase that it's being, as your file's being checked in, or before it goes through a lifecycle stage change, we can then ensure that certain events happen once more. So using those same scripts, using the functionality from inside of those jobs, we can actually have them happen not only at specific trigger points, but every time a file is saved, every time a property is potentially changed in the file. So every time we're going between versions of the files as well, we've got the ability to have those triggered as well. Another really great feature on this is against any one of these files. So for instance, against this drawing file over here, you'll notice as well in the right click menu, we've got the ability to go and export attachments. So these attachments, any attached files to this particular document, we can go and export those out. And we can go and choose a location that we want to go and save those to using the search path over here. This can be anywhere on my local machine. So rather than needing to go in and export any of those files individually, I'm going to search for all of those files and then beginning those exports themselves, we've got the ability to go and trigger those directly through the right click menu. We've also got those same options available to us using the job engine. So we've got the ability to have those triggered in other ways from within there as well. And then as well as that, we've got the ability now to, if you're using Thin Client on site, we've got the ability to use a Thin Client go-to link. So you can go to that file within Thin Client. It'll then quickly automatically go and give you that location. Or if you're potentially working with colleagues that don't have access to full Vault, and are needing to share access or share the location of a particular file for them to check, you can also copy the URL for this particular document within the Thin Client, and they can then open it from within there. So that's just some of the functionality that's available to us. As you can see, all of it is very much customizable. The scripts that we can get to run in the background, they are modular, so we can essentially make sure that rather than it just doing one particular job at a time, we can then begin to make sure that it can trigger multiple from within a single script. So rather than it just creating a single PDF, we can have it grab PDFs, DXFs, and any other forms of exports. We've got some clients that are grabbing the Revit files from Inventor and exporting those out in a BIM format to be able to then either add again into Vault or into another location outside of Vault. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all I wanted to show for today. I will hand back to Rob, and I'll see you guys again soon. Goodbye.
Thank you, Cameron. I guess from my perspective, just to wrap things up here, this is a product or an extension to Vault and the job processor and what have you that I'm actually really excited about. As sad as that is, getting excited about data management. This is the tool that really, in my mind, allows you to make Vault do the things that you really need it to do. And Vault off the shelf has some fantastic functionality and the ability to work with data standards, but to be able to take PDM Booster Manage and have that data standards more modular with better ease to implement custom scripts, and above all else, the ability to manage those configurations centrally without needing another third-party application from the Autodesk App Store, or going around and copying pasting configuration files directly from one machine to another. To have that within your Vault environment so that an administrator can actively manage, it's the way it should work, in my opinion, off the shelf. So the fact that we can do that with PDM Booster is fantastic. And customizable jobs both in the job processor in a modular way, so that we can get things to happen pre or post a script, capture events from inside of the Vault client, like a checkout or a property change, or like a change state to do a real four eyes approval and stuff like that. For me, this tool is kind of, I'm not going to go as far as to say it will let you do anything you want to do, because that would be wrong, but within reason, it will allow you to support the writing of a script in a PowerShell language to cover off most functionalities that you would need to. And the last thing that I'll say to wrap this up is that functionality is not limited to Vault-based code. So using our PowerShell calls and scripting, we can also drive Inventor API directly from the job processor in Vault. So things where ordinarily you might need to go and run some iLogic, we can actively make the API calls directly inside of Vault Job Processor to automate the process inside of Inventor, should you need to. And that just opens up a whole plethora of other options and benefits to you, should you need to. And really, that's kind of all we wanted to cover off. So quite a top level demonstration to give you an appreciation or an understanding of the functionality. If you need to know more information, or if there's anything in there that's interesting, clearly the next steps are reach out and let's have a conversation, because there's so many things that this could do for different clients that it's really trying to identify, okay, what are the mundane tasks you're trying to automate, or what are the downsides to your process that are falling flat that you want to try and implement some better standardization on. We can then pick up on where this might be able to help. So thank you once again very much for your time and joining us this afternoon. I wish you a good rest of the day and a pleasant end to your week, and we will see you all next week. Take care. Thank you for your time. See you again soon. Bye.